During the last part of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, Argentina experienced a great influx of immigrants from European countries, such as Germany, Poland, and especially Italy. Whether escaping impoverished conditions in Europe or simply searching for the promise of a better life, many individuals, young and old, arrived in the port of Buenos Aires. One of these individuals was Salvador Gentile. This is his story.
Mi chiamo Salvador Gentile. Sono nato il 19 febbraio del 1886 a Nicosia, un piccolo villaggio nella regione Sicilia del sud dell'Italia. Durante la mia infanzia ho vissuto una vita semplice in campagna. Le persone qui hanno due opportunità: o coltivi le terre o lavori nelle miniere. Quando è nata l'opportunità di venire in America, sono salito a bordo di una nave con le altre migliaia di persone che come me hanno lasciato la loro città natale in cerca di un nuovo inizio.
Between 1880 and 1914, hundreds of thousands of Italians immigrated to Argentina in what was called the Great European Wave. During that time, many regions in Italy suffered from poor economic conditions and much political strife, brought about by the tariff war against France, causing farmers and traders to experience many financial losses. Additionally, many social movements began to rise, sparking several riots and strikes due to the effects of the political and economic turmoil that took over Italy during these years. In the end, many Italians saw no better option than to leave behind their homes, and sometimes even their families, to seek relief from these miserable times.
All'inizio del secolo ho compiuto la difficile scelta di lasciare la mia famiglia e la mia città natale, Nicosia. Ero un giovane ventenne, non avevo idea di cosa ci fosse dall'altra parte del mondo e naturalmente la paura scorreva dentro di me. Ma l'idea era euforica e piena di speranza. Il porto di Buenos Aires era affollato di persone, come me piena di speranza. Finalmente ce l'abbiamo fatta, una nuova cultura, una nuova lingua, essenzialmente una nuova vita ci aspettava. Il posto sconosciuto era diventato ora un frenetico paesaggio urbano. Per quanto fosse bello, sono salito sul treno e ho proseguito il mio viaggio all'interno delle nazioni. Le terre pastorali hanno riempito il mio panorama per giorni, fino a quando sono arrivato in un'altra città, Cordoba, la mia nuova casa.
The previous smaller wave of Italian immigrants of 1869 had helped build the Ferrocarril Central Argentino that connected the capital of Buenos Aires to the provinces of the interior of Argentina, including first Santa Fe and Córdoba, and later extending to Tucumán. Thousands of immigrants from years to come would use this railroad system to disperse into the innermost cities of the country. Due to their contributions to the railroad system, the few Italian immigrants living in Córdoba in 1869 were valued as hard workers, and it was relatively easy for them to assimilate into the Argentine society. The men at the time married Argentine women to facilitate their integration into society. Yet, this changed by the next immigration wave. By 1895, there were 2,720 Italians living in Córdoba, making up 5% of the population. Subsequently, Italian men had begun to marry other Italian women in an effort to feel closer to their roots.
All'inizio ho preso la residenza a Pueblo La Toma, piccolo paese nella periferia agricola della città di Córdoba. Appena mi sono ambientato, ho iniziato a lavorare nel settore edile e sono poi diventato un general contractor. A quell'epoca ho conosciuto mia moglie, la mia adorata Antonia Braciaventi. All'epoca era la figlia del mio capo, vivevo da solo e così ho chiesto la benedizione del padre per poterla sposare. L'avevo appena conosciuta, ma avevo l'impressione, fin da subito, di poter passare il resto della mia vita con lei.
Antonia Bracciaventi was the daughter of Italian immigrants Luis Bracciaventi and Francesca Latella, who both emigrated from Nicosia with their two eldest sons. Antonia herself was born in Córdoba, 10 years after her family became residents of the city around 1895. In 1908, she married Salvador Gentile. She was 14 years old at the time, and he was 22. They both declared the same residence in 1913 at Coronel Olmedo 351. Together with Salvador, they had 7 children: José Miguel, Teresa, Chocha, Ricardo, Luis, Antonio, and Yolanda. Having had no formal education himself, Salvador encouraged his children to pursue college degrees.
Mi abuelo Salvador se había dedicado a la construcción. Yo recuerdo de él que él había construido el mástil de la bandera del Colegio de los Salesianos, cerca de mi casa, y que él vivía a una cuadra de la casa donde yo viví los 10 primeros años de mi vida, en la calle Paraguay, ¿no es cierto? Calle en la que mi padre luego decidió hacer su casa familiar. La casa la construyó él junto con un hermano de mi papá, Antonio, que se dedicaba también a la construcción. Y bueno, yo tengo ese recuerdo de él y fue una cosa que a mí me impactó mucho, porque incluso cuando yo era chico vi cómo se construía mi abuelo decía de que yo podría ser ingeniero cuando sea grande.
In the years to follow, Salvador became especially involved in religious affairs that dominated the Italian immigrant community. Being a Catholic himself, he became the alternate director for the religious organization La Cofradía María Asunta de Nicosia in 1913. Later, in 1915, he also became a member of the Società Cattolica Popolare Italiana di Mutuo Soccorso, or the Catholic Italian Mutual Aid Society, alongside his father-in-law, Luis Bracciaventi. His devotion to his religion was prevalent throughout his life, resembling an aspect which he passed down to his children and grandchildren.
Recuerdo dos cosas muy importantes. Uno, por ejemplo, su religiosidad. En la parroquia de María Auxiliadora, a donde íbamos a misa, había una virgen, Asunta de Nicosia, que era la patrona del pueblo donde había nacido mi abuelo. Y todos los años se hacía una procesión en la que asistían gente que eran descendientes de ese pueblo, junto con mi familia y con mis abuelos.
Salvador and his family attended Mass at La Parroquia María Auxiliadora, a church led by the Salesianos that provided a socially religious environment. They were neighbors to the Mainardis, another family of descendants to Italian immigrants who frequented the same church. It is thought that this is where José Miguel Gentile and Josefina Ada Mainardi first met, later to become the parents of my grandfather Jorge Horacio Gentile and his siblings.
Y la otra cosa, ¿no es cierto?, es el espíritu de familia, porque no fue una rara casualidad que yo también tuve 6 hermanos, o sea, éramos 7 hermanos, como eran 7 hermanos los que tuvo mi padre, y mi madre también tuvo una familia donde eran 7 hermanas. Así que por ese motivo también siempre he tenido y he rendido un gran culto a mi familia.
Salvador Gentile passed away on August 11, 1949, leaving a significant legacy for the future generations. He taught his family about the importance of knowing what to want from life and unashamedly chasing after it. Little did he know that a century later, his great-great-granddaughter would be embarking on a similar journey, emigrating from Argentina to a completely new country, the United States. Although our destinations were different, our aspirations and sense of determination were unequivocally the same. His story goes to show the long-lasting impact of our choices, no matter how impossibly difficult they may seem in the moment, and the essentiality of leading a life with no regrets.
Sin llevarle más que una canción y un